of treason if chosen name. Is patriotism when devil's to blame? Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, all numbers would slip. Had Biden done it, they'd shout no way. But Trump did it, so it must be okay.
Self-proclaimed king, a groper in chief, stealing our country, a crooked orange thief. Faux patriots who are poorly educated, wearing red hats and also unvaccinated. Liberal Dan will see us through. It's the best show that you're not listening to. So when you hear the call, animals unite. Liberal Dan Radio, talk on the left, that's right. A failing media that's barely treading water. They're too inept to fight this new world order. Corporate pigs are at the trough, hear the squeals. The swine won't bite the hands that feeds them meals. But Liberal Dan will see us through. It's the best show that you're not listening to. So when you hear the call, animals unite. Liberal Dan Radio, talk on the left, that's right. A leftist voice on air, exposing MAGA treason, breaking through their lies with facts, logic, and reason. Unmasking hypocrisy, the truth will be our guide. Call out their lies, justice is on our side. 'Cause Liberal Dan will see us through. It's the best show that you're not listening to. So when you hear the call, animals unite. Liberal Dan Radio, talk on the left, that's right. Liberal Dan Radio, talk from the left, that's right.
Welcome to Liberal Dan Radio, talk from the left, that's right. This is your host, Dan Zimmerman, coming to you from New Orleans, Louisiana. Phone lines will open up in a second. I'm in the mood to argue with some conservatives. So if you're a conservative who wants to come bring it, because I've not had the best day, and you're going to feel it from me. So call in if you dare when the phone lines open. Just a reminder, if someone is on the phone, please do not try and call in again. We don't have multiple lines to be able to take multiple people with people waiting on hold. So whatever. But yeah, I have no tolerance for idiot MAGATs who believe that this past weekend was going to be violent when it was nothing but. I have no tolerance for conservative support like people like the Hodge Twins who, were absolutely downright cruel to a young girl who went up on a Youngblood stage or whatever earlier in the month and, basically wrongly called her for as being a young trans girl when she wasn't. And we'll go over those details in a second. I'm in no mood to deal with rape apologists. If you heard about the story that happened in New York State with a DoorDasher who happens to also be a TikToker. If you haven't heard that yet, we're going to be discussing that too today, as well as all the other bullshit that's coming from the Trump administration for various sorts of things. So I am not in the mood to, necessarily tolerate any conservative bullshit. But if you want to call in and, take your chance with it, go right ahead. More than happy to have you call in and we can have a nice little discussion as to why you're wrong. Anyway, we'll be talking about several of those things in a little bit. First, remember, like, share, subscribe, etc. If you haven't liked this live stream, please do so. Share it. Subscribe here. Follow over on Twitch. Liberal Dan Radio on Twitch, which is twitch.liberaldanradio.com, or just the regular stream is at liberaldanradio.com as well. Our merchandise shop is changing, so at some point we will have a new merchandise shop, so I'm not going to be sharing that link yet because apparently my stepsister told me to not share the old one. So, as old Donald would say,
it is what it is.
Let's say hello to people. We got a Church at Every Game and Orvillaby and Aaron over in the Twitch stream. Over here on YouTube, sorry for the people who got booted, and the first time we might have said things that I've not said anything to. Got Nick, Jackie, Molly, Steven, Josh, the Mod Squad, both Aaron and Jolie, Dawn, Jeff from just north of Uranus, Steve from across the pond.
It's no Scottish, it's crap.
Botrix, of course, who, we need for the chat thing. That we're actually using now. Witchy Woman, good to see you too. Molly, joy to see you. Blah, blah, blah. Roxanne, I think Roseanne was here earlier. If I happen to miss, CR is here. Good to see you, CR. Bethany with Ojeda Raid, thank you so much for stopping on by. Appreciate you. Michael, also Janelle as well. Thank you all for stopping by and checking out the show. And Nick as well. If I didn't say hello to Nick as well. I was going to try and also stream to TikTok today because someone in one of my videos was like, hey, do you go live? I'm like, yeah, but it's usually on YouTube and Twitch. But what I was concerned with actually happened, which was the fact that the TikTok, the TikTok studio does not like it if you have if you're using the camera for here to use it over there as well, where sometimes you can use both, like when I use my little studio to have guests on, like the Video Ninja studio to have guests, that will allow me to use the camera there as well as here, but unfortunately not the case for the TikTok studio. It will not let me use for both, so we're not going to go live on TikTok today. Unfortunately, because that would have been a source of perhaps more conservatives to, argue with. Why was my day shit? Well, first of all, as y'all saw, my computer just decided to automatically reboot for no frickin' reason whatsoever. And I was, had people Alexaing me up here, what's wrong? Because my computer just reboot for no damn reason. But also, I have a very old Genair stovetop, electric stovetop. I have an oven that's like on the other side of the kitchen, and I have a Genair stovetop that is old, that apparently nobody ever bothered to, there's nothing that I realized that there's this, they use a glass jar in these things, a glass jar to collect the grease from the pan because you had like a little frying or thing where you could actually grill inside. Yeah, so all the grease goes in this jar. I don't know how old that grease was, but we've never changed it, and we lived here since 2007. 2007 is when we moved in, so in December. So almost 18 years where the grease was sitting in there for at least 18 years. Who knows how long or before that the grease was sitting in that jar. I find it very odd that a glass jar would be used to store it, but whatever. But the fan stopped turning off, and then I guess in my frustration, whacked it a bit too hard, which then caused a short, which then caused the circuit to break. And the thing that's on the same circuit with my stovetop is my oven. So the only way we can cook things right now in my house is with a microwave oven or an air fryer. Or a plug-in two-thing, I guess, stovetop or whatever that we have for burners that we could potentially use. We've never used it yet, so I don't know how that works. And maybe another toaster oven that I have that could potentially be used for my gluten-free stuff for Cassie. Otherwise, a smaller toaster oven that I have for stuff for the kids and myself for smaller stuff. But yeah, I'm not having a good day. And also, turns out that the cutout dimensions for this particular stovetop is smaller than every single freaking stovetop that's out there that I've been trying to find. Every single one is just slightly bigger. So not only do we have to find somebody who can install this thing, they would have to be able to make a cut in the countertop. Fortunately, it's not granite and it's not a stone countertop. So hopefully it would be easier to cut in. But yeah, so and the person who I would normally call to get to that stuff is booked 4 weeks out. So, yeah, not the best day at all. But we're here. We're still live. Yes, Jeff, I whacked it too hard.
Oh, my.
Anyway, so, but we're not going to be focusing too much about that. We will be talking about other things in this program. And look, you know, but just to let you know where I'm at right now, it's not been the best day. Also at 2 o'clock in the morning, my younger son woke me up because he had just puked. So he stayed home from school today. I got assigned a bunch of wrong tickets because the people, I guess, running our ticketing system at work are not inept enough to determine where tickets should go. And I had no idea what this one ticket was, but apparently there was a whole bunch in the queue for me that had nothing to do with my job duties. So, and I'm glad to help when I can, but still, I can't be the one who's trying to pick up everyone else's slack while trying to do all the work that I have to do. So it's been a heck of a day. So let's see how this show goes. Aaron is like, I knew that pick was grease. Yes, it was grease. But did you know that it came from underneath a stove top? Yeah. Just all the stuff draining in, all the grease draining in forever. It wouldn't even come out of the jar. I shouldn't do that. It looks too weird. But it wouldn't even come out of the jar. I had to scoop it out the jar to get it in the trash. So yeah. Lord have mercy. Anyway, so we are, not tolerant at all at any point of rape culture, but let's talk about this topic first before we open up the phone line, shall we? I happened to see this video, happened to be on TikTok, and it was a young woman who makes her money via DoorDash. I don't know if she makes money via other, like Uber Eats and Instacart or any of the other ones. I would highly recommend that if you're going to make money that way, that you should diversify your opportunities and your possibilities. But who knows, maybe the town that she lives in only has DoorDash, and if that's the case, and no Uber Eats, no any of the other things, whatever. So this is what happened to this young woman. She approaches, and I don't have a picture of what happened, because to picture what happened, apparently that has caused her TikTok videos to be deleted because of what the picture included. So what did this picture include? When she went to go drop off the delivery to the individual who ordered said delivery. You walk up the stairs, and it's kind of like there's an angled pathway. So you have a front porch type area, and like you have to kind of walk diagonally up the stairs, and there's a diagonal view into the house. So it's not like a straight on, like you walk up the stairs and the stairs are right there. You kind of walk up the stairs and you have to walk this way and you have to look this way, and the view this way. If the door is open, you see this person's couch. The door was open. The door was not left closed. It was left open. And according to the young woman who made this report and shared this video with the picture of the customer, he was laying down on the couch, pants and underwear around his ankles. Supposedly, he claimed that he was fast asleep. I have no reason to believe that he was fast asleep. Not one bit. But he basically told the dasher to leave the food at the door, as one does, and then proceeded to leave the front door open, proceeded to drop trow and drop his underwear, and then lay on the couch in a manner that would allow the DoorDasher to have a full-on view of all of his majesty or lack thereof. Now, I can't speak for his intent. I can't speak to whether or not he was asleep or not. But if you're going to expect a DoorDash delivery, if you're going to expect that to happen, why are you leaving your door open, especially if you're dropping your pants and laying down on the couch when the couch is in full view of the front door? To me, that's criminal. Now, the person, the DoorDasher who reported this, not just informed DoorDash, but apparently DoorDash didn't like the fact that she shared the picture of the person in her video, and as such terminated her account as well. And here's the thing. Here's where I rest with that, because there are a lot of people who are saying a lot of things about this young woman. And also the young woman also said that she was SA'd, that this was a crime where she felt that she was assaulted because of this. Now, I don't expect victims to be perfect in every way. I don't expect victims to understand the law perfectly in every way. And I don't expect victims to behave perfectly in order for me to believe anything about what they said. People are flawed, and when you're victimized, you're not necessarily going to be thinking in the correct frame of mind. And even if you were thinking in the correct frame of mind, I'm not going to demand that you act perfectly as a victim, because that's what society does. That's what rape culture does in order to make sure that individuals, can get away with, I guess, their rapes, because, that's what we have. That's why we have rape culture, because it makes it easier for people to get away with their crimes, not just of rape, but of other sex-type crimes, sex violence, etc. So, there are people who are trying to claim that this woman was at fault, this young woman was at fault, that she was the problem. They were trying to claim that she opened the door, that the door was only open a crack, but people who were sharing that picture were sharing cropped pictures where you actually couldn't see. You could only see a part of the door that was cracked, but that's because they left out the rest of the door that was open. So it looked like it was only this much, but that's because they edited out the rest of the open door. And the screen door was wide open this way to the outside, and the other door opens to the inside. So you could absolutely see full on in this person's house. So the people trying to claim that this woman opened the door without any evidence that she opened the door are full of crap and are being apologists for this crime that took place. They're also trying to claim that she went in. There's no evidence that she went in. They're also trying to say that that he was not in the wrong because he was in his house. And therefore, if he was in his house, he had a right to privacy. Well, after some searching online, I was able to find the New York Code, New York Penal Code, Section 245 on public lewdness. 245, public lewdness. A person is guilty of public lewdness when he or she intentionally exposes the private or intimate parts of his or her body in a lewd manner or commits any other lewd act, A, in a public place, or B, in a private premises under circumstances in which he or she may be readily observed from either a public place or from another private premises with the intent that he or she be so observed. That's the law of the text. So the argument that this individual had a right to privacy and therefore and could not have committed a crime because he was in his own house, sorry, New York law disagrees with you on that one, ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls, children of all ages, and anybody else, guys, gals, non-binary pals, etc. The fact that he was in his house does not shield him from the fact that he committed a crime if that was his intent. Now, people are saying, oh, well, he was sleeping, so therefore he had no intent. He left the door open, laid down on his couch with his pants around his ankles. And in my opinion, now, I'm not a lawyer. I didn't stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, and I wasn't there. So I can't speak to specifically to his intent. But it is my opinion that if somebody is going to be making a DoorDash order, telling the person to leave the order at the door, then leave the door open, and then lay down with your pants down in a manner that somebody walking up your stairs can clearly see you, to me, doesn't that kind of prove intent? Doesn't that kind of prove, regardless of if he was sleeping or not? Sleeping is irrelevant. Fine, he could have fallen asleep. That doesn't discount anything else he did prior to falling asleep, which meant leaving his door open and dropping trowel. And you have all these people, women, men, etc., who are trying to make excuses for this customer, who also was, at least temporarily, banned off of DoorDash, and going after this woman, trying to say that she's the criminal because she shared a picture of it online. Well, police don't do anything when it comes to rape a lot of the time. Right? That's why we have rape culture, because it's very easy for people to get away with their sex crimes. So why would anybody else believe? So she went to the place where, especially when she found out that she was terminated from her position. And she didn't find out that she was terminated from the job until everybody else did. Or the reasons why. Because she was asking why. Why did you lay me off? Why did you make me lose my job? And they wouldn't answer her. She found out after DoorDash shared why the termination took place on their own TikTok account. It's all sorts of bullshittery. This is why women and other victims don't come forward. This is why victims don't come forward. Because of the way that people treat them. They want to jump to defend the indefensible. They want to jump to defend this person who left his door open, left his pants down, and laid on the couch. Questionable as to whether or not he was asleep or not. But again, as I've said, it's irrelevant if he was asleep, because he still put himself in a position where anybody looking at that angle would have been able to see him laying there. And anybody at that angle would have included the DoorDash driver that he instructed to leave the food at the door. So when I open up the phone lines, if you want to argue with me about this, you go right ahead. But I'm not going to tolerate any BS or any rape apology on this channel, and I will definitely mock you, insult you, and otherwise judge you if you're going to try and make excuses to try and say that this young woman was anyway in the wrong for simply documenting what happened to her as she was doing her job. Thoughts? Anyway, so I recorded that. So anyway, yes, Roxanne, cowardly behavior on DoorDash's part, exactly. But here's the thing, I've seen situations where when I was driving Uber, there were times when people got complaints. Louisiana drivers got complaints on Uber because they had a camera in their car, and the people complained about the fact that they had a camera in their car. Well, having a camera in one's car is the only way to protect yourself from wrongdoing. Hell, even if the camera isn't on, if the passenger believes that there's a camera in the car that could be recording them, they probably will act better than they might have if there was no camera in the car. I mean, I had one customer who was absolutely inappropriately touching me before I got my camera. That's what made me get my camera, because I wanted to be able to say, this is what happened. But there are people who have posted like interactions with their customers, even when they've gotten permission from their customers to say, hey, can we put this online? Sure, I'll give you permission to put this online. And Uber's like, nope, sorry, can't do it. Even though Louisiana is a single party recording state, Uber will still say, hey, nope, sorry, you can't record your customers and then share the videos online. So look, but again, you'd think, they'd make a little bit of an exception for somebody who was coming forward and sharing the fact that this individual just left his junk hanging out there for the whole world to see, including the DoorDash driver. Let's see. Blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Some good news. Biden finishes radiation treatment today and given his doctor a bouquet of flowers. That's cute. Yes, exactly. Moon Girl. Pick the bear. Thank you, Atrocious at Every Game, for saying I'm on fire. Let's see. Why would you ever touch someone? I give virtual hugs, but don't give me a real one unless I agree things. Oh, why did my passenger touch me? I don't know why, in fact. See, initially I thought maybe that this person was drunk and or high, and was like, constantly just rubbing on my shoulder. And I don't have very much personal space at all. But like, when her friend got out the car to go into the house that they were in, and she stayed in the car, I had to let her, actually, I was like, do you want me to open the door for you? She's like, yes, please. And then she starts hugging on me and kind of touching me up, upper torso or whatever. And I froze. I absolutely froze. I had no idea what to do, because I had no idea what I needed to do to get myself out of the situation, because she was drunk and or high. And I wanted to make sure that I got out of there without her making a complaint about me, for me making her angry for like rejecting her. So I walked her to her door. I tolerated enough, I guess, touching for me to, okay. Now, the other part of me is thinking that home dude ran into the house to go lay in wait, to go rob me. Because like weeks or months later, there was a situation where there was a individual who got tempted into a house by a couple, different area of town. But they got tempted into this house by this couple claiming to want a threesome. And they ended up mugging him and like stealing his wallet and money, etc. So maybe that was their plan, was to kind of woo me into the house and then whatever, but I could not be wooed. So anyway, but yeah, there are people who get away with, and again, the Lyft person or whatever, it was either Lyft or Uber. When I had a conversation with that person, I was like, oh, well, you should have reported that. Well, thank you for telling me what I should have done, Mr. Person who is telling a victim what he should have done in the situation. I was frozen at the time. I had no idea how to handle it, because I was petrified that this was the only way I was making money at the time, and I wanted to make sure that I navigated it so I could continue making money and not have any negative dings against me and my account. So, Witchy Woman, I mean, yeah. Actually, Witchy Woman says, I get it. I mean, every woman in the world gets it. And when I told that story on my Facebook page, they were like, welcome to womanhood. You've just witnessed a piece of being a woman. And yeah, so thank you, Jolie, for sharing the link about where to get the John Fugelsang's book. Appreciate you. I think I need at least one or two more people to buy the book to kind of solidify my Amazon affiliate account or whatever it is. So, hey, Petrazi, good to see you. What else? What else did I miss in the chat? Somebody said something about extremely small tent. I was wondering if you were talking about what might have been covering that home dude on the couch's whatever. Hey, Bobby Brown, good to see you as well. It's my prerogative. Sorry. Do what I want to do. It's my prerogative. Anyway, let's see. Blah, 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 blah. Trying to see if I've missed anything else. See, Moon Girl, oh hell yes, I recommend anyone and everyone have a dash cam. Ours saved us from being sued and got our vehicle repaired. That's awesome to hear. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't have one currently on my vehicle, but yeah, I probably should put that one back and just record everything at that point, because at this point, I don't trust people. Anyway, let's go ahead and continue talking about some other stuff. Go ahead and... Where is it? There it is. Oh, I guess I need to take off my Do Not Disturb as well. If you are conservative and you want to call in specifically, you can call in 562-LIBDAN1, 562-LIBDAN1, 562-542-3261. Let the conservatives have a shot first at it, because I'm looking forward to having some conversations with them about the domestic terrorism of January 6th and Donald Trump's not being a law and order president, etc. But first and foremost, let's talk about the Hodge Twins, shall we? The Hodge Twins, if you go to their Wikipedia page, and I will go to them when I, so you don't have to. They are born and raised in Martinsville, Virginia. Blah, blah, blah. They enlisted in the Marine Corps. They've had over 500,000 subscribers on YouTube way back as 2013. Both have been married to their current wives for over 15 years, blah, blah, blah. The Hodge Twins are vocal conservatives. They have over 3 million subscribers on their Hodge Conservative Twins YouTube channel. Donald Trump supporters, to nobody's surprise. They oppose Black Lives Matter. Shocked, I say, even though they are... darker complected individuals. I don't know what their full-on ethnicity is, but, they're the type of people that police are more likely to pull over, but yet they don't want to support Black Lives Matter. So it just tells you how smart they are, right? Two of the most shared posts about them are George Floyd protests. They are frequent guests on conservative comedian Steven Crowder's various programs. They've made lots of claims about Joe Biden and Black Lives Matter, as has been debunked. But in October 2025, aka this month, they used photos of an 8-year-old girl and her mother to falsely claim that the child was a transgender child invited on stage by singer Youngblood. So the 8-year-old girl, who is a singer, was invited on stage to sing with the musician Youngblood. What would normally be an awesome opportunity for anybody who is a fan of any musician. Like if I was invited on stage to go sing with Weird Al, that would be awesome. But, it's never going to happen. But still, this child was invited on stage by the musician Youngblood to sing with him. The mom posted a video on social media. The Hodge Twins, under their Conservative Twins brand, took photos from the video and reposted them on their platform. The reposted pictures claimed the girl was trans and was being exploited by Youngblood. One post featured a quote from Youngblood, "I'm going through changes," and the twins added the caption, "Why can't they leave children alone? This is the whole point." Of course, nobody was saying anything about children being, bothered in any way, shape, or form. This was a wholesome moment that was turned into a vile and disgusting moment by these conservative asshats. Broader context of the controversy. The incident is part of a pattern of transphobic content and commentary from the Hodge Twins. In 2019, a Tallahassee venue canceled a Hodge Twins comedy show because of their transphobia after the twins posted a video mocking a trans person. Similar incident occurred in 2022 when a Columbus, Georgia venue canceled their show citing their anti-LGBTQ+ content. The twins attempted to compromise by offering to remove LGBTQ jokes, but the venue did not back down. 2021, the twins posted a video reacting to and mocking a non-binary person. Hodge Twins have built a significant following with conservatives and often controversial commentary. Some of their claims have been fact-checked and found to be false. I'm surprised it's more than just some. It's probably many more than that. But conservatives, here's the thing. Conservatives are so obsessed with what's in a child's underwear. That every single one that makes that argument needs to be investigated. Because if you're that concerned with what's in a child's underwear, I'm going to assume that there's some disgusting crap on your computer. Because no sane, rational, good person is going to sit here and worry about what is in a child's underwear, except for gross pedophiles. And I say this as somebody who is a victim of crimes against him as a child. So don't come at me trying to defend those a-holes. Oh, they're just trying to protect children. Fuck you, no. They're not trying to protect children. They're trying to maintain their brand and attract the deplorables of this country and of the world by going after, the most vulnerable of them all. Now, this person, again, was not a young trans person. It was not a young trans woman. This person is a cisgender girl who was just enjoying a concert. But young trans youth are at severe risk of self-harm because of the crap that people like the Hodge Twins do. And I am sick and tired of that bullshit from all over conservative media. And we see a lot of it because conservative media has done a very good job spreading their reach, something that we apparently have done a piss poor job doing. We need to do better. We need to push all of our creators. We need to make sure that we can compete at this level, because the only way to combat their hatred and vileness is by going after them at the source. Is by going after them, by showing people what the right things are and how the right way to behave is. And it's not that way. Not one bit. So, screw the Hodge Twins and their BS. See, is this a video about this or not? Trying to see if this is an actual video or if this is just an image on Instagram. It's taking a very long time. It is not. Well, it is giving me lots of problems and not actually letting me load the video. Yay, how about that? Lovely. Anyway. Yes, see, Suzanne, they are predators, they are hunting, they are really hunting. Exactly, they are predators. All these people are predators. Say churches at every game. These a-holes keep mentioning the trans agenda. I'd love to know what that even is. Trans people exist, have rights, deserve dignity. Cool, I support that agenda. And not supporting agenda is telling on themselves. Exactly. 100% correct there. Atrocious at every game. So yeah. So let's talk about all the stuff that we need to talk about. Let's start with George Santos. George Santos had been ordered to pay about $374,000 in restitution. President Trump commuted his sentence last week. Santos says now that he will pay restitution only if he is required by law. Former Rep. George Santos said in Sunday interview on CNN that he would only pay back approximately $374,000 in restitutions if it's required of me by law. I can do my best to do whatever the law requires of me. When asked whether he would work to pay people back as the judge had previously ordered, I don't know what that is. I've been out of prison for 2 days, agreed to come on here to speak with you candidly and openly, not to obfuscate. If it's required of me by law, then yes, otherwise no. I will do whatever the law requires me to do. Santos was released from prison after President Trump commuted his sentence on Friday, cutting short his 7-year prison term after less than 3 months. Former congressperson had previously pled guilty to charges of committing wire fraud and aggravated identity theft. As part of his sentence, he was ordered to pay $374,000 in restitution to those whom prosecutors characterized as his victims. Prosecutors had accused Santos of embezzling money from campaign donors, charging credit cards without authorization, among other crimes. In a separate interview on Fox and Friends, Santos argued that he does not still have to pay the restitution. I do not have any pendencies with the law anymore. I have no restitution. I have no probation, adding that most of the restitution was really insane. Santos was previously expelled from the House in December 2023. Just over a month after he was elected, he launched a spotlight that appeared to have fabricated much of his resume. In November 2023, the House issued a report saying substantial evidence that he had violated federal criminal laws. Trump announced Friday that he would commute Santos' sentence, asserting in a Truth Social post that Santos had been horribly mistreated. In the same post, Trump said that at least Santos had the courage and conviction and intelligence to always vote Republican. In the same post, Trump targeted Senator Richard Blumenthal, who has apologized for saying he served in the military in Vietnam rather than during Vietnam. Trump argued that Blumenthal's actions were far worse than Santos. Yeah, bullshit. After Santos's commutation, Blumenthal told NBC News that Trump's rant is fabricated nonsense, added that there was no excuse for commuting George Santos's sentence. His commutation also sparked the ire of Richard Osthoff, a Navy veteran who had accused Santos of pocketing money from a GoFundMe, that he raised money to get his dog life-saving surgery. Apparently, I think it took place right on his 50th birthday, or one of his birthdays, I guess, as well. But let's see, the actual Donald Trump Truth Social post says, George Santos was somewhat of a rogue, but there are many rogues throughout the country that aren't forced to serve 7 years in prison. I started to think about George when the subject of Democrat Senator Richard Dick Blumenthal came up again. He only did that because Santos was begging Trump to pardon him because he always supported him. So apparently that's all you need to do to be pardoned of crimes under the Donald Trump administration is you have to just, kiss Donald Trump's ass and show that you support him, and they'll be happy to pardon you. But otherwise, he won't. He was a great hero. Let's see, blah, 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 let's see, blah, blah, blah. All that happened, he was a complete total fraud. He never went to Vietnam. He never saw Vietnam. He never experienced the battles there or anywhere else. His war hero status, even minimal service in the military, was totally made up, far worse than what George Santos did. What? And at least Santos had the courage and conviction and intelligence to always vote Republican. George has been in solitary confinement for a long stretches of time and by all accounts had been hardly mistreated. Therefore, I just signed a commutation releasing George Santos from prison. Good luck and have a great life. So yeah, there you go. George Santos. Let's see. Donald Trump orders Santos. Let's see if we can find that on the thing. I should have found that. According to The Hill, former Rep. George Santos will not be required to pay any additional fines or restitutions related to his criminal conviction, according to his clemency order. There's the clemency order. Executive grant of clemency, Donald Trump. Let's pull this up on the alternate. There we go. To all who this presents shall come greeting. Be it known that this day I, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States, pursuant to my powers under Article 2, Section 2, Clause 1 of the Constitution, have granted into the individual named below an immediate commutation of his entire sentence to the time served with no further fines, restitution, probation, supervised release, or other conditions for those offenses against the United States individually enumerated and set before me for my consideration. United States versus DeVolder Santos, George Anthony DeVolder Santos. I hereby designate, direct, and empower the pardon attorney as my representative to administer and sign this grant of clemency to the person named herein. The pardon attorney shall declare that his action and the president action is the act of the president being performed at my direction, in testimony whereof I have hereunto signed my name and caused the seal of the Department of Justice to be affixed with his stupid signature. So yeah, there you go. George Santos is not required to pay back any of the restitution he was ordered, and Donald Trump has done this for several people who have owed people and or the government a vast crap ton of money. But because they kiss his ass, he has no problem with not just commuting the prison sentence and letting him go free, but also eliminating his financial responsibilities that came with what happened as well. Thank you, Jolie, for the gift of 5 Liberal Dan memberships. Appreciate you bunches. We're low on green people. Let's go again. Thank you, Jolie. We're always low on green people. Let's see. The kicker is a lot of Republicans voted to expel him from Congress because he ripped off Republicans. What the hell is that now? My UPS now is beeping at me. Oh, Lord have mercy. Anyway, again, thank you, Jolie, for that. Signature looks like Hair Führer, maybe Mind Drumpf, potentially. Hey, witchy woman, good kimchi, good to see you. I don't see many familiar people on that gift pledge there. It should go to people who are in the chat first, I think. But that's, that's my opinion, I guess. What department is going to jump Trump? Yeah, Trump. What department is Trump going to appoint Santos to next? Who knows? Who knows what he'll do? I'm sure he'll be ambassador to something. Why is that freaking beep? Oh my God. Ridiculous. Are y'all hearing the beeping, or is it just me? I mean, I know it's beeping, but I don't know if the microphone is picking up the beeping or not. Just add more one piece of crap to this day, right? If that happens to cause more problems. You hear it? Lovely. Anyway. So what else? And then, of course, we have the No Kings protests. And what does Donald Trump do on the same day of the No Kings protests? He decides that he's going to do live fire exercises that are going to take place over Interstate 5 in California. What? Like, this, I tried to find out information. Apparently, from any of the information that I found, this is something that's never done. That they'll usually do live fire exercises, like maybe to the, within it, but not over I-10. And it's a good thing that we have a sane, competent individual. Now, I'm not a big fan of everything that Gavin Newsom has done, but his mocking of Trump has been epically wonderful. And the fact that he closed down Interstate 5 because of what Donald Trump is going to do shows that he is infinitely more intelligent than Donald Trump has ever been. Why? Because some of the ordinances, like I said, exploded early, and some of the shrapnel went into a law enforcement vehicle. What would have happened had Newsom not shut down the interstate? People might have died because of that, because who knows where the shrapnel might have ended up. Fortunately, it only went into a cop car and didn't harm anybody. But Donald Trump is irresponsible, he's reckless, and he's childish. Because, on No King's Day, the White House page shared an AI-created video of him doing what? Flying a jet and putting virtual shit over everybody, including Harry Sisson, apparently. And Harry Sisson's comment was like, could anybody tell me specifically why Donald Trump wanted to throw, virtual artificially intelligence created crap all over me in your video? And apparently J.D. Vance responded and was like, I'll tell you. And he was like, and Sisson was like, just add me to the Signal chat. I'm sure I'll be able to find out there. So maybe the atrocious everything. Maybe the next AI song is Had Gavin Done It. Had Gavin done it, or Newsom maybe. Had Newsom done it, Donald would flip. Yeah, doing it while wearing a king's crown, and like showed a picture of like was it Newsom and somebody else dressed like princesses while Trump and Vance were dressed as kings. And people, all these conservatives, like, why are they celebrating something we don't have? Because, you fucking morons. He shared on his own social media pages, on the official White House social media pages, that he was a fucking king, and he ran saying that he wanted to be a dictator on day one. Or did your stupid, mindless brains not even remember that shit? Or just chose to ignore it? or your heads were too firmly affixed into Donald Trump's orange ass that you were too busy actually listening to what it is that he was saying that he wanted to do. Speaking of what Trump said that he wanted to do, Trump said that he wanted to protect our farmers. Harris actually campaigned on protecting the farmers. Trump claimed that what he would do would be protecting American businesses, but now Donald Trump has promised now 20 billion and became 40 billion in aid, in funds, I guess, to purchase their currency or whatever, but only if the guy that he likes wins the election. So basically, he's meddling in somebody else's elections and trying to make sure that the voters vote for his guy so that he'll then send money to Argentina, who just made a deal to sell their soybeans, or either sell their soybeans or buy the bean, whatever, screwing American farmers who are now having to sell their farmland to big, large conglomerations, and they're losing their shit. I hope every single farmer that loses their crap voted for Trump and now is in the find out stage. I hope every farmer who voted against Trump somehow finds a way to get protected, and every farmer that voted for Trump, I hope you suffer because you caused this. Trump supporters voted for this. We warned y'all. We were warning y'all exactly what comes with a Donald Trump administration. And guess what? Y'all are now in the find out phase. Good luck to you. May the odds be, I would say, be forever in your favor, but for the Trump supporters who are now suffering because of what Donald Trump did, hope the odds are never in your favor, because you are screwing over this country. You have screwed over this country with everything that Donald Trump has wanted to do. Meanwhile, you had like Republican Congress people like Mark Wayne Mullins, who was like, oh, these protests are going to be violent. Not one shred or iota of violence took place on the part of the people marching against King Trump, saying that we have no kings. Not one bit of violence. No arrests at the biggest rallies. There was an arrest, I think, that took place in Florida, but that was a MAGA person who brandished a gun. Because MAGA, when they make an accusation, it's always a confession. These idiots wanted to claim, oh, they were hoping that there would be violence so they could sit there and point their fingers and say, oh, but now they can't do that. Now they have to say things like, you know, oh, this was anti-America. You know what was anti-America? Attacking cops on January 6th. Bashing a cop's head, trying to overturn the election on January 6th, 2021. That was anti-American. That was treason. This is what America is supposed to be about. Getting out en masse, protesting this fraud of a president. And not one conservatives. Trucker John goes, I think there were 22 arrests, all MAGA. Exactly. All MAGA. Because MAGA is the problem. The people who vote MAGA are the same people that would make excuses for somebody who flashed themselves to or who exposed themselves to a young DoorDasher. Oh, speaking of the DoorDasher, I forgot one other thing. There are people on there who were like, how did he know it was going to be a woman? Well, first and foremost, maybe he didn't care if it was a woman or a man. He just wanted to expose himself to somebody. But B, whenever I've ordered via Uber Eats or DoorDash or whatever, I always see the name of the driver. So when the name of the driver pops up, he probably assumed that this is going to be a young woman. And sometimes you even see a picture. So he knew he had plenty of time between the time when she accepted the order and then delivered the order to set his little whatever it was that he said. I don't know his name. I don't know who he is. But to me, it seems much more likely than not that these actions were done purposefully, regardless if he actually dozed off or not. I doubt it, because he probably wanted to be able to see the reaction on behalf of his victim. But these are the same people who will say, like, oh, well, Donald Trump wasn't found guilty or liable of rape, so therefore he's innocent of doing anything. I'm like, no, he was found sexually liable of sexual abuse. So that's okay to y'all? Because he wasn't found guilty of sexual assault or rape? Or he wasn't found liable of sexual assault or rape? That now it's okay, but it was sexual abuse? These are the same people who tried to say that, oh, it was just locker room talk. Boys being boys. But Donald Trump's such a fucking idiot that when given the opportunity to actually say, oh, it was just locker room talk, it wasn't really me saying what actually goes on, it was me just making a joke on private. No, in the deposition, he goes, yeah, wealthy people can grab people. That's just how it is. He doubled down on his dickheadedness. He doubled down on the claim that he would, grab people by the hoo-ha. And they don't care. Because they want to be just like him one day. They want to be rich enough so that they can get away with sexual abuse and sexual assault and sex crimes, etc. Because that's what their goal in lives are. To mistreat other people. They look at that and they view that as being manly. Which is why one of the reasons I have this Unraveling Toxic Masculinity list of videos, collection of videos that I've made. Why? Because that is not manly. That is rapey. That is a crime. That is deplorable behavior. But they voted for it. Just like they voted for it. I mean, right now you got people like, Joe Rogan. Who's out there, well, I didn't think that he was going to be deporting all of these people who were here for... Why are you an idiot? Why would you not think that? He did that during his first term. In his first term, he went after the low-hanging fruit. He didn't go after the worst of the worst. He went after dreamers or the parents of dreamers or whatever. He went after people who were here and not causing any other crimes or mischief or anything. The only crime that they possibly would have committed is the crime of crossing the border illegally. Because as I showed to what's-his-face on the previous show, as I showed to him, the people who are not here legally are less likely. The undocumented people are less likely than the whole. Than American citizens. They're less likely to commit crimes at all, let alone violent crimes. Of course, Ken Good didn't want to see that, and Ken Good thought it was more important to laugh at me and, say, oh, you have TDS, instead of, actually listening to facts and logic and reason, like I bring on Liberal Dan Radio, talk from left, that's right. A church at every game. Rogan could have stopped that. I don't think. Yeah, we know, Joe, we know. And look, it's great that Joe Rogan is finally starting to come around on this bullshit. And then he's finally starting to recognize the horribleness of what Donald Trump is doing and this administration is doing. But as you saw, when I was dealing with Ken Good, conservatives will never admit that Donald Trump did wrong, or at least MAGA conservatives won't admit. The only conservatives that admit Donald Trump did wrong are conservatives who bothered to show up at these rallies as well. Or conservatives who have been part of the Republicans against Trump. Or other people who just know that Donald Trump is an evil scumbag piece of crap. But, how long is it going to take for enough people to actually recognize how much of a danger this person is? Yeah, if it would have been great if he came around to that 9 months ago. Yes, but 9 months ago, he was drinking the fucking Kool-Aid. He was thinking, he thought, Donald Trump's going to go after the gangs. He's going to go after the hardened criminals. He's going to go after the rapists and the murderers and the people eating the dogs and the cats, allegedly, which never happened. He's going to go after those people. He's not going to go after the people who are just working the jobs that Americans don't want to work. But he was too stupid. He was too caught up in, getting more people on his shows and being popular in an election year to have integrity. God forbid you dare have integrity and you dare to, stand up and say, look, this might cost me a couple of viewers, a couple of listeners, but you know what? What's right is right. And what's wrong is wrong. And Donald Trump is just a collection of wrongness. Exactly, Big Hook. The Roy Cohn strategy of never admitting that you're wrong. 100%. Bethany goes, be careful, you can get SA from the person delivering the food as well. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because there are Uber drivers and delivery drivers or whatever who will absolutely have commit, crimes such as that as well. It's not just the passengers or the customers who are problematic. But yeah, I mean, stuff like that happens too. Of course, every person is supposed to get a background check. So if you're guilty of such a thing, then that's supposed to catch. So you can't be an Uber driver or a Lyft driver or whatever. Being said, because we live in a society where it's easy, they make it easier to get away with sex crimes because they put so much doubt in the victims who come forward and tell people, hey, I was a victim of a crime, and then they start casting doubt, and then it's hard. They make it easy to get away with the crimes. So you'll have many people who may very well have committed sex crimes who don't get caught up in a background check. Why? Because they were never convicted of those crimes in the first place. What you women be? It's true. Just one more person hands on my food. The older I get, the more things that gross me out. I'm okay with that phobia. John Glad, who decides wrongness? The ultimate question. Golden rule: do unto others as what you would have done unto you. That's part of it. But yeah, we have. There are certain things that should just be wrong in general. Sexual assault, sex violence, wrong. Failure to obtain consent when you're showing yourself. I mean, the type of people who would justify a guy laying on the couch with his door open and his pants around his ankles. The people that would justify that are probably the same people that would justify, sending unsolicited dick pics. And to me, if there are jurisdictions where sending an unsolicited picture of yourself that's lewd or nude or whatever, if there are jurisdictions where that's still legal, that should change because it should be always illegal. That should be considered a sex crime, regardless of who the recipient is. Always obtain consent before sending such stuff to other people. I'm not a prude. If you want to send your pictures of your naked self to other people, by all means, as long as they consent, have fun, do it, enjoy yourselves. Hope everybody who wants to see naked pics gets all the naked pics that they want sent to them consensually. But it should always be consensually. And these people don't understand consent. Consent shouldn't be a very difficult concept to understand, but yet, unfortunately, here we are. Let's see. Trump himself is an adjudicated rapist who palled around with Jeffrey Epstein for 25 years and surrounded himself with sexual abusers and fraudsters and cannot himself do business in New York due to fraud, but Trump will go after those dudes. Truly. Exactly. 100% there. Yes, but Trucker John, you say passed out on the couch with your pants to your ankles just another Saturday night for you. Yes, but you probably are. I would assume that you're definitely a good person who wouldn't order DoorDash in such a state and leave the door open so that your DoorDasher could see you without consent, right? And even then, you still should, I still wouldn't send that to a DoorDasher who is, if I felt like exposing myself to somebody, I wouldn't be like, hey, DoorDasher, would you like to see me laying naked on the couch when I show up? But at least that way that person would have obtained consent. But that's not what it's about, because these people get off on the thrill. It's like, there's just like people who, you know, would open up a trench coat and flash people on the street. They do that because they get a thrill of showing people things that they don't want to see. And trust me, nobody wants to see that crap. So, some dogs are barking outside too. Lovely. See, Susie Jones, big hook. My friend laughed at me for putting my Venmo and PayPal on Blue Sky and said I'm begging it and made me cry myself. That's terrible. I mean, if you need help, you need help. Share your shit. Like, I mean, I put out a GoFundMe there when I felt like I was having some problems earlier in the year, and I was grateful for all that, for the help that I got. By all means. I mean, I'm still in a financial mess. I don't know how I'm going to pay for my new stovetop. I don't know how. I mean, I think I might be able to finagle it, but only because I found an old 401k account. Like last show, as I think as either Ken was talking or somebody else was talking, I like saw an email from Fidelity Investments, and I was like, wait, what's this? And I went and looked it up, and I was like, oh, I've got $3,000, 3,600 or whatever, just sitting in a bank, in an account, doing nothing, and I need money right now, so let's go ahead and just cash that out, and I'll suffer the penalty because it's only $3,600 bucks. But yeah, I was just like, all right, I'll just use that. So I might have to dip into that a little bit. I'll use that to help pay the $1,000 flood insurance that I had to pay by December to make sure that I'm covered for the year, so that, you know, I'll have to do the same thing next year, but still, hopefully everything else will be settled by next year, so I'll have more money to play with. But still, everything is just financially a mess. And of course, I almost canceled the show today. I almost did, simply because of the fact that at about 7 o'clock, I was sitting on my couch, like, or on my chair, just teared up because I felt like a fucking moron for screwing up the stove and the stovetop itself, and then causing it to cause a cascading failure where we can now no longer use our oven until we get this thing fixed. And here's the thing that's most troublesome about it. The stovetop is not a plug into the wall type thing. It's plugged in directly to the electricity. So it's not like I can just unplug it and there you go. I have a wire that's a 220 wire that I can't just sit there and just let dangle, because that's going to cause problems too. I'd have to unravel it and maybe cap it or whatever, and yeah, just not happy one bit. It's all right, Atrocious. I guess I'll survive at some point, but you know, financially, it's just hell. And then I have to hit my head on the wall watching other people who weren't on certain days that I'm on go up against me and, you know, have much more well-attended shows than I do, not being able to figure out how the fuck I grow the show anymore. Because maybe if I was able to grow the show more, I'd be able to have more viewers, I'd be able to be more successful with this, and I'd be able to get a little bit more coming in so that I could actually, you know, spread my message more if in the long term, but in the short term, maybe make a little extra money from like ad revenue and shit. But, you know, I try not to begrudge other people for the success that they have, but, you know, when you specifically go up against me, it's kind of hard to not take it personally. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's nobody in the chat currently. Just make it sure. See, here's the problem, John. Yes, switch off the breaker. It is off because it's tripped. So it's off. But I can't use my stove. I can't use my oven because my oven is attached to the same frickin' thing. So we can't cook anything unless it's in an air fryer or a microwave or a toaster. So that's my problem with that. So did you fall to my knees screaming no? No, that would have just hurt my knees, because while my left knee is better than it was, it's still a little sore, still a little swollen, still dealing with crap like that. And of course, my right knee hasn't been fixed yet. So Thank you, Steve. Love you too. Anyway. I have capped ends wire for a bathroom fan I need to install, but it's 4 layers. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I would, you know, I don't know. I mean, since I know it's off, so it's not going to harm me if I actually disassembled it. I just don't even know how to fucking disassemble it at this point. I think the screws look stripped. So, but I might still try and take a look-see after the show and figure out, you know, okay, maybe try and run out and try and get some caps and cap the wires off, and then we'll see. But anyway, I'm not convinced that I'll be able to fix it tonight, so at least we have our oven. But oh wait, there's also another idiot that I've been dealing with. What is this? What's the name of the account? I should show this one too, because these people are fucking scumbags. Oh, like this one right here. Let's just go over the entire thing. This account, Israel Exposed, says, anyone who said Trump-Israel was serious about a ceasefire was either deliberately trying to fool you or an idiot. And I agree with that. The problem is that it's also very, so somebody goes, about the Star of David, it's the new Nazi symbol, enjoy it. Somebody goes, it's also very stupid to compare the Jews to Nazi Germany. How can you call yourself Israel Exposed and not know the truth behind World War II? Person goes, I know, but the point is the two symbols are perceived as the same. My response, the two symbols are only viewed as the same by anti-Semites trying to blame all Jews for the actions of the Israeli government. Do you perpetuate the idea that Jews also control the media too? Because that wouldn't be shocking. And this idiot, Prince of Wales 77, goes, anti-Semites, it's Jewish behavior. It's not just the Israelis. They are like it wherever they go, subversives. This is the crap that Elon Musk allows on his platform. This bullshit right here. And many other posts by this supposed Israel Exposed account that just uses anti-Israel stuff to, you know, push their anti-Semitic agenda. Because as Jews, we just can't be allowed to live. We can't be allowed to live. We can't be allowed to just simply survive. They have to attack us over and over and over again. Just because we're Jewish and no other reason. So we got the Hodge Twins, we got the live fire over I-5, we got the New York Doordasher, we've got the Trump farmers with the Argentina thing, we got George Santos, we got a whole bunch of other stuff. Midas Sue says, why stay on X? It's because I want to be able to see the anti-Semitism. There's no, I don't see much anti-Semitism on Blue Sky. I mean, I found a little. But there's not much anti-Semitism on Blue Sky, and in order to shine a light on anti-Semitism, to expose anti-Semitism, you have to actually be where the anti-Semitism is. So that's why I still remain on X, because you know you have to fight back, and that's my always opinion. You have to fight them every single possible place where these racist, bigot, anti-Semite a-holes exists. You have to do that. You have to fight it every single time. And of course, yeah, Bethany, I knew it wouldn't last, the peace agreement. Yeah, that's why I was like, look, if you know, getting 20 people home, great. I think Biden was responsible for much more getting home with his negotiations between Hamas and Netanyahu, and Biden also pretty much had Hamas agreeing to the same deal that just took place now, but I'm sure Netanyahu and Trump had a little conversation where Trump is like, don't do anything with the peace agreement until after I become president. And that's it. But anyway. It's frustrating. Yeah, Biden over 100 hostages home. Thank you, Sue. I didn't have the number right off the top of my head. But, I mean, they want to give Trump credit for the 20, but they won't give Biden credit for the 100. And Biden would have had the rest of them home, too, but if not for Trump's meddling. If not because, again, Trump meddled in the whole negotiations as it pertained to the border policy and getting the border bill passed so we can have more judges to be able to go through the backlog of asylum claims to be able to deal with them and send home the ones who don't get asylum and keep the ones here who do get asylum. Of course, I'm sure if it was up to Donald Trump that nobody would get asylum unless you were rich and white. So, anyway. I'm exhausted. I frankly am exhausted. I didn't realize that Texas Paul was on a 3-week break too. Oh, maybe some of Texas Paul viewers were coming over and take a look-see over here at Liberal Dan Radio, and hopefully we'll... I don't even think I said hello to Teresa today. Hello, Teresa. Good to see you. But, I don't know. You can understand why it's a little frustrating. But, everything just piling on top of each other. Money issues, whatever. Oh, we got a call. Oh, it's Big Hook. Yay, look at Big Hook. It's Big Hook. Good to talk to you, Big Hook. What's going on, man?
Yeah, someone told me misery loves company, so I figured I'd join you.
But you're not in misery. You're all the way up in Canada. Jeff is in misery. I'm sorry, Missouri.
Well, we have to watch it all go down. That's the thing. It's one of those things where we're like, oh my God. I mean, it's very inspiring that so many people showed up and didn't take the bait and did all the right things. And in the end, what ended up happening was all MAGATs that basically went out there and got their asses arrested and did things. I mean, the one in Portland there, apparently the lady was trying to run over a cyclist who was blocking the parade route so that way they didn't have an incident like from before. Remember that guy during the Santa Claus parade or whatever it was, and he went and ended up running a whole bunch of people down.
The one in Waukesha, whatever, Wisconsin?
Yeah, exactly.
The sovereign citizen. I couldn't not watch that case just because watching him try and argue that was just like watching a train derailment. It was just like I couldn't stop watching it because it was just so ridiculously absurd. So,
well, that's just it. They really are idiots. The only who the MAGATs really remind me of.
Who?
Remember that movie, A Fish Called Wanda, and the Kevin Kline character?
Oh yeah.
I mean, don't call me stupid, but you are stupid. You keep doing all these crazy things, and the same thing, oh, I shoot things, I kill people, I do this, I do that, I mean, it's,
don't call us Nazis. Well, don't act like Nazis, right?
Yeah, I know, and that's just it, it's,
What's up, Jimmy Golding over in Twitch? Good to see you. Motang, indeed. Yes. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, like I said, I'm worried, especially like with the Supreme Court now taking over this voting rights stuff and trying to overturn it. I mean, John Roberts. I mean, what a piece of shit. Like I said, he's the guy, death of 1,000 cuts. He pretends to be reasonable, 10% of the time, so that way he can try to pretend that he isn't in the pocket of somebody somewhere, but I mean, it's just, he will. I mean, we don't even need him anymore. That's the thing. Like, he will try and protect stare decisis as much as possible for his legacy, I guess. But even when he does that, you have 5 other idiots who are going to do things like, Dobbs v. Jackson and overturn Roe v. Wade and Casey versus Planned Parenthood. So, I mean, don't even get me started on the whole, like, I think I'm going to need to make this into an actual video where I actually produce the video not live to actually give all of the evidence of it, because my big concern with because I think, what was it? I think Bill Maher
had whatchamacallit on, had Steve Bannon on, I think it was, and he offered Steve Bannon up a copy of the Constitution when they were talking about whether or not Trump could have a third term or not, and Steve Bannon's talking about that he has a team of people working on trying to get Trump a third term. And yes, the Constitution's language is plain as day. You can't run for a third term. However, and ignoring the whole ploy of him running as vice president and then Vance running as president and then having them flip or whatever, ignoring that whole ploy, what happened in the ruling when people were trying to say that Donald Trump is not eligible to be president because he participated in an insurrection and as such that made him not be eligible to be president? So the Supreme Court ruling basically said the states don't have the authority to determine whether or not somebody is eligible to be voted by the Electoral College or not. The only body that is available to choose whether or not somebody can be picked by the Electoral College to be president or not is Congress, and that takes place every January 6th of the fourth year of whatever. After the election takes place, the next January 6th, Congress meets, they have the little meeting, they decide whether or not the Electoral College ballots are valid or not. So the only people, apparently, according to the Supreme Court ruling, that can make that ruling is whatever. So what's then going to happen if a state like California goes, hey, we're not going to let Donald Trump on the ballot because he's constitutionally prohibited from running for a third term. And then Supreme Court, and then they challenge it to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court says, you as the states don't have the authority to do that. That rests with Congress. Basically, that's going to make them say, hey, you have to allow this person who's constitutionally ineligible to run for office, and then hope that Congress does the right thing by saying, nope, he's not eligible, there you go. Or hope that the voters do the right thing too, but we all know the voters won't do the right thing because they voted in Trump twice already. But yeah, I am highly concerned that that's how Donald Trump gets back into office because of this dumb Supreme Court ruling and a spineless Republican Congress.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. Now, they all play this,
Sue goes, they already ruled
the Mitch McConnell.
Hold on, Sue goes in chat, they already ruled that way in Colorado. Yeah, that's the point. They ruled that way in Colorado because Colorado tried to keep him off the ballot for the insurrection thing, and then they said, no, you don't have the authority to do that. Only Congress can do that. So if that's the case with insurrection clause, why wouldn't that be the case for the other clauses? And as such, states would then have no authority to bar people who are constitutionally prohibited from the ballot, which then leaves whether or not Donald Trump can have a third term up to the Republican Congress if the Republicans manage to keep the House and the Senate or whatever, or manage to keep enough. And then we're screwed. Then laws are meaningless and whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, they're trying to basically gerrymander out all black representation, because that's the whole thing. It's always been the plot. So, okay. Not sure if this is the same guy.
But yeah, you can't. We had the situation though again where like in Louisiana, they wanted they're looking like they're going to overturn what Section 2 of the VRA, thus allowing Louisiana to redraw their lines yet again and take away the second Democratic district. When in reality, we all know that what's going to happen when Louisiana is given the opportunity to redraw the districts, if they're told, hey, we don't have to draw on racial boundaries, what's going to happen is they're going to be like, nope, Louisiana gets no Democratic districts. All 6 are going to be Republicans. And the only thing we have to hope for in that case, if the Republicans are able to gerrymander all these seats, hopefully each seat becomes weak enough that if you get enough turnout, then maybe you can win districts that you don't even think you could win. But I'm not even holding my breath on that because I have no faith in the electorate because they elected Donald Trump last time. So
yeah, but that's the thing, right? They're all hypocrites. I mean, what got me was over the weekend Bill Maher had Arnold Schwarzenegger on, and he was like, I'm against Prop 50, and it's like, have you seen the gerrymandering that's going on? And he's like, yeah, gerrymandering's been going on for a long time, and I'm part of the party that believes in the things that Lincoln did, and we abolished slavery and all the rest of it. And it was like, dude, you are living in the past. You know, like,
Right.
have you seen all the crap that the Republicans have done?
Yep.
You know, and you know, he tried to pull the, well, we should have bipartisanship, you know, Republicans and Democrats working together, because that's what I did when I was governor. And it's like, dude, that doesn't exist anymore.
Well, he had to do that as governor because he was a red governor in a blue state. So that's why he had to do that as governor, because otherwise he would have gotten anything done. So of course he had to work with the other side. But that being said, yeah, it's absurd to think that, oh, well, gerrymandering has been happening, for such a long time that makes all gerrymandering okay, or it makes continued gerrymandering or worse gerrymandering somehow okay. No, it's dumb. He should get to the chopper and get out of here. Anyway.
Yeah, I know, and that's the thing, though. It's very frustrating, because you would think, somebody who tries to do the right thing and then says all these things, but you are dealing with sociopaths and psychopaths on the other side of the aisle who are all trying to mimic Trump's behavior, which is basically the Roy Cohn strategy, which is don't apologize for anything, just keep criming until somebody slaps handcuffs on you, and then hire a really expensive lawyer to get it whittled down, and then play your political cards that you bought off, and make it seem like a partisan prosecution, this sort of thing, and it's just ridiculous. There isn't any, like, anyone that's following the script can see what's going on and who the good guys are and who the bad guys are. And that's the thing. The Republicans don't care. They don't, they are bad guys. And I mean, I get all these, people with conservative values. I mean, like, tell me what is conservative nowadays. I mean, I used to consider conservative as don't waste food, don't spend money that you don't have, do things that make sense. But the thing is that common sense isn't common sense anymore within the Republican Party. It's basically racism on steroids. It's the white party. Oh, we we believe in the power of white people, and it's like, yeah, none of you guys have ever fucking done anything. You don't write legislation. You just block shit, and you pass tax cuts for the white billionaires out there who have way more power and money than God, and don't do anything and don't put anything back into the community or the state or the government at all. They're constantly like, oh yeah, well, let us write the legislation as to how the environmental regulations will be handled. It's like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's all.
Well, one of the interesting things, so you said something about them being evil or whatever, them being horrible people. I heard an interesting thing today when they were talking about, you've seen Inglourious Bastards, and you've seen how good of a job that Christoph Waltz did when he played, a Nazi. That he played the part of the Nazi so well, and somebody asked him, how did he do such a good job playing somebody who was evil? And the answer was, I didn't. He didn't play him like he was evil, because evil people never think that they're evil. Evil people think that they're on the right side of history. Evil people think that what they're doing is good and righteous and pure. And as such, if you play the person as if they are like somebody who knows that they're evil, they're never going to come off as realistic. But if you play somebody as who's doing these things, who believe that they're righteous and moral, whatever, they're doing the right thing, then you're going to nail it, because that's what makes the evil people really evil, is that they believe that what they're supporting is actually good. So
Yeah, but that's the thing now. The ICE guys, they all think that they're going to get away with this, and that nothing will ever come back to bite them. And that's what's worrying me, because they learned from the last time. Don't leave any paperwork anywhere. And I mean, that was shown already when he separated children from their parents and basically made it almost impossible to track these people down and to make reparations and whatnot. I mean, those people that did that still haven't paid the price for that.
Nope.
You know, and that's the thing. We keep saying, oh, well, we'll fix it. It was horrible. It was evil, in fact, but we won't prosecute the people that did it and try to teach somebody a lesson as to how humanity is supposed to operate in a sane world. I mean, and that's what gets me. You know, they are hypocrites to the highest degree. They accuse everybody else of doing stuff, but who is it that they keep finding that are the child molesters, that are the child rapists, and everything else? You know, outside of the one guy that they had on us, it's always Republicans. You know,
Kimchi is warning you that something's about to blow to get back from the beeping.
Yeah, well, I'm driving.
Okay.
What happens sometimes. So, but you know, if you were listening carefully, you would have heard the Japanese instructions of please drive safely and keep your eyes on the road and your hands on the wheel at all times. You know.
Why is it Japanese instructions? I want to know. That's what I want to know. Why is it Japanese instructions?
Because I have figured out that I can get 15-year-old or older cars with little or no mileage that were made way better than anything that's currently available now and doesn't require a rocket science degree to work on.
Nice.
So as a result, like the Corolla sedan that I bought for 10 grand had 14,500 kilometers on it and not a lick of rust on it whatsoever. And, you know, it's a 2008 and it has all the luxury features and everything else. And the one that I just currently bought was a Vitz, which is a Yaris 2006 with 19,000 kilometers on it, which is basically like about 12 or 13,000 miles on it. You know, and I bought that one. I'm probably into it for about 5,800.
You are correct.
And,
that is 11,806 miles. I was looking it up too when I was trying to do some translation from kilometers to miles for all of our American listeners who don't use the metric system. So
yeah. So that's what I've been doing. What I've done is I basically figure gas is probably going to be around for about the next 15 years. So basically what I've done is I've bought 3 of these Japanese vehicles that I figure, you know, if I get 150,000 kilometers out of them without any major mechanical issues, you know, I will be money ahead. And at that point in time, where we are car-wise, whether it be electrical or hydrogen cars, you know, then I can go on to that. But, you know, I will have basically done what I've done. Hopefully, I think I'm doing smart things, or at least it's what I perceive to be smart. I mean, other people are doing whatever they do. I mean, like a Prius up here now, brand new Prius is like 40. Wow, that's a lot of money. You know.
yeah.
You know,
I'm fortunate enough where I still have I think I'm only at I don't even think I've hit 10,000 with my mother-in-law's car that we inherited and that we had to pay off because Hyundai Financial wanted to come after us and take the car if we didn't refinance the car in my wife's name only, which she wouldn't be able to do because Kia sucks. But anyway,
like I said,
because we both work at home, we don't drive much. So fortunately my insurance went down significantly because we both work from home. But ugh.
So have you received your new what your new health insurance premiums are going to be, and have you figured out exactly how much are they going to double or triple in your case?
I think a lot of the expanding health insurance premiums are people who got their plans on the exchanges because they get the subsidies. I don't know how much that affects group plans, but it could because I know that there was some potentially subsidization there. we have not heard from my employer-based health insurance how much premiums are going to go up yet, if they have. They already went up a bunch last year. I think if they go up much again this year, if the employer doesn't eat the cost of it, I think you're going to have a lot of people being very annoyed at work. But no, we haven't found out what our new health insurance premiums are going to be. But
yeah, no, we keep looking at you guys and we say, you guys keep doing the same thing. You say, oh, we live in the richest country in the world, and it's like, no, you don't. You live in a country with the most billionaires, but
right.
You don't live in the richest country, because otherwise you would have everything provided for you and everyone would be living happy, hunky dory, and that is not the case, let me tell you. But I mean, it's frustrating from our point of view because we have to deal with you, and then Trump goes and talks to Carney and says, oh well, and makes the joke, oh yeah, well, you'll be covered under the Golden Dome if we make you the 51st state. And I was like, fuck off, go away, go sell your bullshit somewhere else where you have idiots who will buy it and eat it up all day long. Yeah. I mean, it's frustrating. It's frustrating because we've watched you guys suffer for the last 50 fucking years. I mean, that's almost as long as Bernie has been in politics, and he's been preaching the same message from day one when he entered the political arena, and you guys still haven't fixed what's broken. And that's the thing. You guys are the easiest fucking date out there because, buy me dinner and you can screw me royally. And that's what ends up happening. The billionaires buy off the politicians and you guys and the rest of you all get screwed royally. That's basically it in a nutshell.
Yep. If you look at the top countries in 2020 income, at least, Luxembourg had the highest median income, followed by the United Arab Emirates, Norway, and Switzerland. All have higher median incomes than the United States. The United States comes in fifth. If you look at mean income, it jumps to fourth because mean isn't as accurate when it comes to looking at individual people. But GDP per capita, we're down at like 10th or something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11th. For GDP
well,
per
somebody said there recently, and I saw a video. They said you guys are in the crunch right now. You guys currently right now, someone did an estimate, and they said there's over $1 trillion in credit card debt currently right now, just to be able to survive with the tariffs and everything else that's currently happening right now.
Oh,
and you guys are about
you're I'm very much
at the max, I'm guessing.
Very close to the max. Not necessarily because of Trump, though. I mean, it's not helping. But, with all of the issues that have taken place, like, I've had to pay $8,000 out of pocket for health insurance costs on top of my insurance premiums over this past year to cover all of my health insurance stuff. And that doesn't include dental and vision because we're stupid as a country. And unless you're on Medicaid, maybe Medicare, unless you're on like a government plan, your eyes and your teeth are apparently not considered health in this country, which is mind-numbingly stupid. But yeah, plus all the other things that I've been going through with my mother-in-law's house, whatever, and everything like that. It's a mess. And like, I could probably be a little more frugal as well, don't get me wrong, but it's a mess.
Yeah, if it feels good or tastes good, it's sinful or fattening, one or the other. Yeah, I know. And that's the thing. Life
expensive. So
yeah, well, yeah, I mean, tell me about it. It's just the way it is. Like I said, like my car purchases, this is sort of preparing for the future and hoping that I can win the bet that it'll all be only oil changes and brake changes and tune up every once in a while, and I'll be able to ride it out for the next 15 years. So I mean, that's the way I look at it, because that's the problem with a lot of the cars that are out there now. I mean, it's not uncommon, something goes wrong and all of a sudden you got a $2,000 bill hanging over your head, and it's like, oh, You know.
Oh, I'm not even. I'm petrified to even start my van. I haven't started my van in such a long time that I'm petrified to start it because I know it's probably going to be dead. Um, because we don't use it much because my oldest does not want to drive, and even if he did, the cost to add him onto our insurance would be ridiculously cost prohibitive, without him getting a job. So it's just a mess.
Yeah.
And we both have the two cars that we have. So right now I have a 2013 Toyota Sienna just sitting in the driveway with 215,000 miles on it.
And it probably doesn't hurt that you told them that, you know, if you find yourself in trouble, don't hesitate to call and we'll come and fetch you.
Well,
You know, I mean,
that would assume that my oldest one goes out, but he doesn't. He's very introverted. I'll just put it that way.
Is he a gamer?
Well, yes, but I'm a gamer too, and I'm not introverted. I'm very much an extrovert whilst being a gamer. So, and my youngest son is also a gamer and is very extroverted as well. So, but
Yeah.
he does fit the bill. He's neurodivergence is there too, and everything like that. So, if
Well,
he passes,
you know,
if he
I mean,
passes his
that's-
classes this year, it'll be enough this semester. So.
Well, that's the thing. If everybody were the same, the world would be an awfully boring place. I mean, that's the thing, you know. And
Well, I used to say that about politics too, but I'd rather a little more boring in my politics at this point.
well, that's the thing, because when it's boring, it means that work is getting done behind the scenes, and basically people are making deals and doing what they're supposed to be doing. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, someone said there just recently that if you add up all the days over the last year, the Republicans haven't done anything for almost 300 days, like over the last 2 years. So, like, they owe the American public over a year of their salary. You know, I mean, it's stone cold ridiculous what these people are getting away with. I mean, it's basically highway robbery under the veil of being a politician. You know, I mean, like, you guys should demand better. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I'm the one guy that I am impressed with lately is Mamdani. I mean, he just totally took Cuomo down
Right.
in that debate. I mean, because that's the thing. They hide behind money, and every time they go, but he's going to he doesn't support the Jews, and I was like, he doesn't have to support the Jews. He's there to help everybody. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to go and do this or do that and only cater to one group, because that's the mess we're in right now. It's basically Trump catering to white people who think that they have somehow been slighted when, in fact, nothing has been done to them, you know, except that the politicians create the fear and the anger and they play it off, and they take advantage of them to get their votes. In the meantime, they get nothing back in benefits whatsoever. The little tiny tax break they think they get is all eaten up with the increased cost of inflation and, you know, costs absorbed, you know, but try to explain it to these guys and they go, oh, you're talking a different language there. Yeah, it's called logic. Yeah. You know, and common sense and you know, pertains to reality. So, you know.
Yeah,
I
David
don't know.
Golding in the Twitch chats mentioned about what Norway did. Norway managed to save almost $2 trillion at this point dollars from its oil revenues because it found you know, oil in the North Sea or whatever, and has saved 1.7 trillion from oil profits, a fortune equal to 300,000 per citizen. Now the fund is using that wealth to single out and divest from companies, whatever. Blah blah blah. That's just talking about.
Well, I've been going on like a broken record, telling you guys that you have the perfect system to replicate there, which is what the Scandinavian countries have done. Right. You know, it's shared assets of their land and their nation and whatnot, and it's spread equally amongst people and giving them all their, you know, their essential needs met, while being able to pursue the best life that they think that they're capable of providing, you know. And It's not a big ask.
Nope.
It's not a big ask. You guys have all the same, yet you squander it and you let the billionaires take absolutely everything. And, you know, in the meantime, you have to come up with health insurance. Oh, you have to pay higher taxes. Oh, you have to fix the roads because billionaires can't afford to do that. I mean, now it's the AI scam, you know, because, and they're like, oh, we're going to fix the world. And it's like, no, you're going to steal everyone's fucking jobs because it's cheaper to pay a computer than it is to pay a human being and to house, clothe, feed, and take care of them if they have medical needs. You know, I don't know. I'm really worried about the future. I really am. I wish.
As am I.
You know, I sound like a pessimist, but actually I don't think I'm a pessimist. I'm a realist. I see everything that's coming, and I see the worst people making decisions for everyone who don't have anyone's interest other than their own greed at stake. And that's the thing. Got to return back to the FDR state of 90% taxation and start funding the country and putting the country back together and giving people what they need. Right. You know, I mean, you guys have.
And that's not going to happen with Trump. That's not going to happen with Trump, even though, because especially like if you had the even if he had the funds to build up infrastructure and fund infrastructure projects, Trump doesn't believe in actually doing infrastructure projects as they're supposed to be done. Like, as we covered on the show previously, like instead of actually fixing the roads and like fixing like the underlying problems, all Trump wants to do is he says, okay, just put asphalt over the roads. It's to cover the holes in the short term, so you don't have to see the problems in the long term. And well, that just goes along with. If Trump can't see it, you must not exist.
Yeah, well, I mean that's the thing. It's always you know, it's a plaster job where everywhere they go with it within the Republican mantra, which is basically, you know, we'll deal with the problem when it's completely hard to ignore and people are dying. And then we'll pretend to do something, and if we do something, it'll be half-assed, and then we'll blame the Democrats afterwards. And it's like, you know what? This has to fucking stop. It really does. Because you know what? It's basically premeditated murder with these guys, you know? And it's like all this conservative nonsense is that in itself. It's just nonsense. It's basically, I don't want to pay for something that'll help everyone. It's like, dude, that's what taxes are for. You know, grow up. Get a fucking life. You know, when we all do better, we all do better. It's not a hard concept to grasp. And these idiots walk amongst us and go, and they're all knuckle dragging and going, oh, but Trump says things and I don't even know how I feel anymore. I mean, and that's what you got to deal with. It's just sickening. You know, like, if I didn't know any better, I would swear that they all have fucking syphilis. You know, except it's syphilis of white supremacy and stupidity. You know, where it's like, oh, good, but, you know, I can't make the connection. You know, 1 + 2. You know, it can't be 3. It has to be 13 or 4 or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, let's agree to disagree. Let's parse language. You know, because you know. We want to be right even though we're wrong, you know. I mean, that's the American way. You know, if Donald Trump can fail upwards, so can the rest of America. And in reality, that never fucking happens. And they can't see it. I mean, what is it? The definition of insanity. You do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And I mean, look at it. It's trickle-down economics. It's, you know, it's all these things that the Republicans have done. And never, ever has it ever resulted in a better America. It always ends up in more of the same. It's always more hatred. It always ends up in more black killings. It always ends up in more unemployment. It always ends up in wars where people die, unnecessarily because of a lie, whether it be weapons of mass destruction that don't exist or, whatever, and I mean, that's the thing. It's there. It's out in the open. I have to say one thing. There is a YouTube creator. Her name is Ashley the Baroness. And my God, she really does take things from history and put them in full context and show you how far America has fallen and the sins of America that have been forgotten because we refuse to acknowledge black history as well as other things. And there are some really smart people out there who have solutions, but you know what? If you ask a Republican, nope, don't want to pay for it. Nope. I think life's pretty damn good as it stands right now because I know that if a cop pulls me over, he won't shoot me dead. But black person, yeah, I can't say the same, but that's life. But I don't know.
I was trying to wait to hear if your car would speak Japanese again, so I could hear what it actually says.
Well, yeah,
arigato, senor, Mr. Big Hoko, or whatever.
Yes, no, it doesn't quite do that. It just sort of gives a little blip. But depending on which car I'm driving, the Yaris only has a very short clip. So the other car has a much longer one. But that's the thing. It's just it's frustrating beyond belief because within the MAGA crowd, they have relied on family basically covering everything that is actually the responsibility of government. And that's the thing. So they have always been, well, if we stick together and we're white and we push down the other people, lie, cheat, and steal, and do whatever, and we'll come out on top. It's like, oh my God, these people are the worst. And they say, oh, we're not Nazis, we're not racist, we're just doing what it's necessary to survive. Yeah, at the expense of others. And I mean, that's just it. I don't know. You guys have adopted idiocracy to the highest degree, and you can't see it, which is what's even more frustrating. I mean, I don't know.
Oh,
Anyway,
I'm waiting for us to throw electrolytes on the plants. I'm just waiting. It's what plants crave. It has electrolytes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, you can't help these people. They're beyond help, and that's part of the problem. Unfortunately, I wish I
What's
had
the whole
something.
thing with you have to admit you have a problem first in order to deal with your problem, and they'll never admit the problem because they'll never see themselves as the problem because they think that they're righteous and mighty and that truth is on their side, but clearly it's not because they are firmly affixing their lips to the liar in chief. So.
Yeah, I know, and that's the thing. I mean, we have lots of really good voices out there. We got Politics Girl, we got you, we got lots of creators out there. But did you ever watch that Ezra Klein, Ta-Nehisi Coates interview where
I haven't seen
called
it
them
yet.
out?
I should, but I haven't. But I mean.
Because he was like, oh yeah, well, why can't we just get along and ignore the past and pretend like it hasn't impacted the present? It's like,
right.
Oh my God, what an idiot you are, And the same thing with Barry Weiss. Oh well, let's look at this and let's look at that, and I mean, they make the stupidest connections and then claim that it's a correlation cause fallacy, and I don't know.
I wish I remember what it is that MSNBC, whatever. There was something MSNBC was talking about today, and I was so distracted with everything else I didn't mark it down. But it was basically just another example of MSNBC just like glossing over something and not giving it the attention it deserves, and ignoring the obvious that they're ignoring, because there's too many people on MSNBC who just aren't yet willing enough to do what needs to be done when it comes to reporting about the wrongs of this administration and what's going on. I mean, like, did you see the interview where John Fugelsang was on there, and like all of the looks of when he was talking
Mika, with Joe and Mika.
It wasn't Joe and Mika. It was another one. Like, he might have been on with Joe and Mika, but this was another one. I think it had like Jelani Cobb on it, and it had what are the other women that's on? I forget her name. But
yeah, but Fugelsang is a regular on the panels there. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like he does usually where you see Fugelsang the most is usually on Friday nights with Stephanie Rule, and they do the weekly recap.
It was Stephanie Rule's show, and it had Jelani Cobb. It had a couple other people on there, and all of them were just shocked at all the things he was saying. I'm like, you shouldn't be shocked. You should be understand. Like, you shouldn't be surprised that this is what he's saying, because you should know that this is the truth. But he was dropping the truth bombs, and they were just like all surprised. I'm like, why are you surprised? This is clearly what's going on. So.
Yeah, well, that's like what's her name, the other one, the Abby Phillips, who has the Scott Jennings on all the time, and and I mean that's a conflict of interest, because he's running for what is a governor or something of the state that he's from. I think it's Alabama or something like that. And I mean, like, that's just horse shit. That really is horse shit. That shouldn't be allowed to happen. I mean, that's the thing. CNN did it as well. They kept replaying the Trump rallies at midnight and into the early hours of the morning. And that's the thing. That's where all the brainwashing occurred. That's where all this stuff happened, right? I mean, anyway, media is changing. I think everything is eventually going to go the YouTube creator way, unless that crashes soon too, because let's face it.
Well, I mean, who knows what's going to go down with Amazon? I mean, AWS go down today, which is screwing over everybody. But one of the reasons I used to think that maybe, like, leftist media, liberal media would not, want to, would not be successful or have a harder time being successful, is because all the conservative people just want to be mindless drones and sheep just sitting there listening to what the talking heads are telling them to hear. And then the people on the left are like, okay, well, I'm not going to listen to the talking heads on the right, but I also want to listen to, like, some good music and some other forms of entertainment, and that, that are going to, make my life more interesting and more well-rounded. So therefore they're less likely to support, to create content. And I think while that may very well be true, and I mean I like watching TV shows as much as anyone else. I like listening to radio as much as everybody else. We have to fight. There's no larger existential threat right now than what the hell's going on in this country. And if you can't put down your TV show for 10 minutes and go listen to somebody else who's bringing up points that you might not have realized, and learn how to better prepare yourself to fight back against these traitorous MAGA folks, then you're not doing anybody any favors.
Yeah, but that's the thing. They want entertainment. They don't want education. That's the thing. Anything that requires them to think, they're not interested in. Anything that invokes fear and anger and all the rest of it, that's what they're into, because that gives them their adrenaline high. I mean, and that's the thing. They basically survive off of the low brain instincts, the primal instincts that are there. And I mean, that's the thing. That's why I constantly say, they haven't evolved. They haven't made the next leap, which is, to join reality and to make observations and to search out all the different sources and come to a logical conclusion. And that's not happening anymore amongst them, sadly. So,
I mean, I don't know if you follow baseball much, but we've been notified by several people in the chat that the Blue Jays are moving on to the World Series, so at least you have a Canadian representative there.
Okay, well, that's good. That's good. Maybe the Canadians can teach you guys something.
Maybe, but
Although,
you gotta go up against Otani, and Otani is ridiculously amazing. So, you can bet on that. Sorry.
well, look at me. I'm betting on Japanese. That's why I'm buying all Japanese cars.
There you go.
Hi there. Oh, anyway.
All right, man. Well, I guess let's have a couple of things I want to talk about before I end the show today. So, but thank you again for calling in. Appreciate you, and I'm sure we'll talk again on Wednesday.
No worries. Take care.
All right,
Okay,
man. Have a
thanks.
good
Bye.
one. Bye. All right, that was Big Hook, everybody. Big Hook. Thank you very much for calling in, as always. And of course, after the show, we're encouraging everybody to go over to check out the 5 Egg stream. Just hanging out. 5 Eggs got some definitely interesting songs that he's played on his show, and I was like, what? It was crazy. But yeah, so let's go ahead and flip over to the alternate screen real quick, because this is what Alan Drifter in the chat was telling us about. Here's a Florida news. Man claiming to be ICE agent arrested for DUI with children in the vehicle.
I'm federal.
Okay.
I'm trying to get home. I got my boys with me.
Who do you work for?
DHS.
Do you have your ID with you?
No, I don't.
Okay. But if I called them, they'd verify that you're a
100%,
department.
bro.
Okay. You don't have any type of credentials or anything that say you're DHS?
Not on me, no.
Well, of course he doesn't have any credentials to show that he is DHS, to show that he's an ICE agent, because ICE agents don't like to say that they're ICE agents, right?
Okay. All right.
I only bring my weapon with me if I'm.
Okay. But you don't have any weapons on you right now?
No, I don't.
Okay. So what I want to do, I want to talk to you away from the kids. So I'm going to ask you to step out of the car, and we're going to walk back to the back of your car, okay?
Are you serious right now?
Yes, sir, I am.
We are both law enforcement. I'm going through a divorce. Don't take my kids, man.
I'm not taking your kids from you, man. I'm just making sure that you're safe to drive the car.
Wah, wah. So, yep. Not going to take your kids from you, just making sure that you're safe to drive the car. Of course, who cares about the law when you're ICE, right? Who cares about the law when you're a member of ICE, when you're a member of DHS, when you're out here trying to break the law, trying to, deport people who aren't supposed to be deported because they're here legally. But, of course, people like Ken Good didn't want to hear about that. Didn't want to hear about the hundreds of people who have been deported illegally in violation of not only our laws, but in violation of the Supreme Court ruling that upheld our laws, our constitutional protections on, wrongful detainment, wrongful imprisonment, etc. So, anyway. No problem, Big Hook. We always appreciate you listening. And we don't think you're mumbling. We think you're very intelligent, much more intelligent than the vast majority of people in this country, especially those people who are MAGA voters. So, because why the fuck would you continue to vote for that? So, anyway. Let's see. Is there anything else I wanted to talk about as it pertained to that? I don't think so. Anyway, I'm a little exhausted, frankly, because of all the crap I've been having to deal with today. Hell, I don't even want to risk turning on the circuit breaker until I'm able to be up, because I don't want to risk the house burning down, I was just hoping that maybe just after the thing just got burnt out, that we will just be like, okay, we can just leave it and it'll work, but that happened, and then it just shorted out again, because, that's how my life goes, right? Anyway, see, after a bit of the Fed guy, I thought we was going to get violent. And that's where the video stopped. I don't know if there was any more continuation of what was going on, but of course, you have a law enforcement officer trying to not have the law be enforced against him because, he's special. They don't believe that the laws apply to them. Conservative MAGA types only believe that the laws should apply to other people and that they shouldn't have to be subject to the same laws that other people are subject to. That's why we're in the position that we're at. Because we have a president who thinks that way. We have people in his cabinet who think that way. We have people who he pardoned who think that way. And he thinks that way about the people he pardoned as well. So, anyway. CCOT might be good. Yeah, send the ICE enforcement agent down to CCOT. So anyway, he got done for DUI, exactly. But anyway, we'll be streaming tomorrow again, probably, you know, during Nerdy Dan, whatever, because I've decided that I am going to add a third day. It's probably going to be Thursdays, but it probably won't be till after I get done with my knee surgery and I can get back up here and can make sure that I'm regularly up here and walking the stairs and everything. So, Thursday, when it happens, Nerdy Dan will probably go to maybe once a month, once or twice a month or whatever. Much fewer times. We'll see. But I think we're currently sitting on Thursday nights will be the third day of Liberal Dan Radio, and it'll take place just after. It'll take at least a month for me to get there, maybe like 6 weeks to get there, because I want to make sure that I can get up the stairs, no problem. I want to make sure that I can get seated in here, no problem, etc., etc. Make sure that the knee surgery goes without no problems, because I don't want to start it and then have to miss it almost immediately afterwards. So, anyway, thanks everyone for the support. Thanks everyone for watching, following. Make sure to go help the algorithms out. There have been some people who are conservatives commenting on videos recently. Jump down their throats. Tell them how stupid they are. You know, whatever. In you know, the nicest way possible, of course. Tell them bless their hearts or whatever like that. But yeah, definitely. You know, just go out and make sure to help the algorithm. Algor needs more rhythm. We'll put those shirts back up once my family has decided on what new site they want to use to sell their wares. But anyway, until then, thank you all so much for helping. Appreciate everybody who, especially Jolie, who gifted 10 memberships, 10 subscriptions here or memberships, I guess. 10 new people are Liberal Danimals because of Jolie's help. But if you can't help financially, please just like, share, subscribe, help the algorithms out. The only way we're going to grow is if more people see the content, and the only way more people see the content is if there's lots of people commenting, liking, sharing, and interacting with the content as well. It's the best way to get things done. So that's all I'm asking. That's all I really can ask anybody to do, is just help a little bit of the algorithm out every day. Maybe that'll help the show grow. Maybe that'll get us out of the growth slump that we're in. But until then, thank you all very much. Appreciate y'all. Thank you for listening to me bitch, whine, and bitch, moan, complain, whine, etc. about my own personal things that are going on. Until next time, thank you all very much. Peace.
Trump piled debt, trillions tall. Promised Mexico would fund that wall. Praised dictators, said they're strong. Had Joe done it, they'd say he's wrong. Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, patriotism when Donald's to blame. Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, more numbers would slip. Had Biden done it, they'd shout no way. But Trump did it, so it must be okay.
Obama and Bush's pictures got hidden, obscuring the past, history rewritten. Hung in a hallway where no door can see, confirming his unending fragility. If Trump can't see it, you must not exist. That also includes the Epstein list. Object permanent, a milestone missed. If Trump can't see it, he must not exist. The testing was the line that he said. Hundreds of thousands needlessly dead. Now HHS is run by brainworm quack, hiding the truth behind his back. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist. That also includes the Epstein list. An administration run by narcissists. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist. Documents stacked floor to the wall. Top secret folders in a bathroom stall. Charges were pressed, but the case was dropped. A corrupt judicial system he can co-opt. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist. That also includes the Epstein list. He'll swear it's fake news, a liberal twist. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist. Encampments downtown, tents lining the street. Invisible people that power won't need. Hide them away so the cameras can't find the proof of a system that's cold and unkind. A payout in secret, an NDA sign, an illegal bribe. Michael Cohen fine. Trump got fined too over his gag order, but she didn't gag, cause he was much shorter. It must not exist. That also includes the Epstein list. We can't let him win, we must resist. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist.
They wrote it in the laws, ink still bleeds. Treating women like soil, just planting seeds. She's gone, brain dead, not even awake. But the state's got a claim, gonna plant its stake. Say it's God's will, say it's life they protect. But they ain't the ones feeling pain or neglect. From Texas to Georgia, they set the trap. Rights roll back while they smile and clap. Gilead's here, this is true. Hey MAGA fools, they'll come for you too. So I'm gonna jet, see you later. I'm not gonna be a baby incubator. This ain't pro-life, it's control and shame. They don't care if she's gone, just playing a game. Keep her hooked to machines, cold and still. Just a vessel to them, not a human with will. No consent, no voice, no chance to resist. Just laws in place, written with a clenched fist. Hospitals scared, judges playing God. Bodies ain't temples, just state-owned pods. Gilead's here, this is true. Hey MAGA fools, they'll come for you too. So I'm gonna jet, see you later. I'm not gonna be a baby incubator. Bands in the dark, they don't care who it kills. Sacking courts while they strip out all of your wills. But we'll fight back, march loud, burn bright. Cause this ain't the end, it's the start of the fight. Gilead's here, ain't ain't no grace, and those leopards are coming to eat your face. So I'm gonna jet, see you later. I'm not gonna be a baby incubator. Not gonna be a baby incubator. Not gonna be a baby incubator.
The creative director at WGSO had a little something he thought you should know. When Dan picked on his bits, Steve got real gruff. So Steve called Dan a flake, called him liberal dandruff. Steve thinks that his lines are really clever, but when do people ever like him? Never. Liberal Dan's got better lyrics, this is true. Listen and you'll feel like I do. Liberal Dan, his show is great. Liberal Dan, he goes live at 8. Liberal Dan radio, it's the best, cause Liberal Dan's head and shoulders above the rest. Steve's about to find out his mistake. In this feud, Dan's Kendrick, Steve is Drake. Dan might not be the world's best singer, but he's got more talent in his little finger. Steve thinks that his lines are really clever, but when do people ever like him? Never. Liberal Dan's got better lyrics, this is true. Listen and you'll feel like I do. Liberal Dan, his show is great. Liberal Dan, he goes live at 8. Liberal Dan radio, it's the best, cause Liberal Dan's head and shoulders above the rest.